Welcome everybody. Today is Tuesday, March 20th, 2012, and this is the Pastel Pony Podcast. I'm your host, Faust. Today is also Astara, for those of you who are pagans, and the first day of spring for those living in the Northern Hemisphere, the vernal equinox. Welcome. I have some things to talk about today, but I am making this a short podcast because this is the second run-through, because when I tried to do it last night, it just sort of fell flat. I've been overworking myself quite a lot lately and had considered not even releasing a podcast this week, but instead, I will just do a short one. I am not going to do a chat log this week because I am just far too overworked and tired. That being said, I still want to thank Zenbrony for getting me this week's chat log. There is a chance I will do it at another time, but it's unlikely. First off, the writer circle, going very well. People are there and talking without me, which is awesome, because that was the point. I still stop by, I check in on things, and if I have something to say, I will, but otherwise, I'm sort of letting you guys develop at your own speed and pace, and I will post another link to that so that all of you who are interested can stop by. There's about 3 to 4 people actively commenting and others who are watching, so, you know, stuff. Besides that, I have a couple of reviews this week. Antipodes updated. Finally, one of my favorite stories. It's starting to pick up the pace a little bit because it's been sort of this epic Lord of the Rings style walking kind of thing going on up until now, and I'm happy to say that it's starting to get to what you've known as the main plot for a pretty long time now, and they've got an airship, so they can move faster and stuff. But if I never explained it, Antipodes is a fic that takes place 10,000 years in the future, long after Celestia and Luna have disappeared, and the sun and moon have stopped spinning, so half of the planet is a freezing wasteland, half of it's a burning wasteland, and only a thin strip is inhabitable on the surface, and most ponies live beneath the surface. But it's very interesting. It has themes of communism and craziness and Spike in the future. Very old, very crazy. It's wonderful. I also read For I Am a Jelly God. I haven't finished it yet, but it reads like a 1950s sci-fi movie. It's fantastic. It's silly and ridiculous, and a good thing if you need some kind of a break from all the darkness. Speaking of breaks from the darkness, you're not likely to get one anytime soon, because next week is a revisit of Le Petit Four, with Mobius, Mazza, Osyth, and Adam the Person. There are 5 of us for that recording, and it turned out very, very well. It's definitely rated cupcakes, both because it is essentially cupcakes and because it's one of those really interesting recordings. Later in the episode, Mobius, Osyth, and I try to harmonize to the tune of Art of the Dress, and Mazza screams, "You three are like the Triforce of singing terrible, creepy-ass parodies." It's wonderful stuff. That being said, I am more or less dead when it comes to Equestrian Invasion. It's gonna happen. I need a girl voice actor. So badly. Essentially every time I look at it, it fills me with rage that I have not finished it yet, because that is really all I'm waiting on at this point. It needs about 3 or 4 hours worth of work, but I can't motivate myself to do it without having a girl voice actor, so I need to figure that out. I've got 1 or 2 more ideas, and if that doesn't work out, I don't know. We'll figure something out. It's gonna get done. I refuse to not finish it. So, you know. Another fic that caught my attention was There's Another My Immortal fic. And this one is even better. It's pretty obviously written as a troll fic because it is trying very hard to be just as bad as the original, but it's not. It can't be. They tried so hard. But it's hilarious. I read the first paragraph or so, I believe, in the recording of Le Petit Four. So, on to spoilers. I really liked a lot of this episode. I didn't like it as much as I liked most of the episodes this time around. This season has been really strong. It's very different than the first season, but certainly as strong as the first, in a much different way. They've added so much to canon with this most recent episode, since we've never seen, as they said on Equestria Daily, we've never seen a dragon outside of isolation. We've never seen them together, and there's just hordes of them in the sky. Now, that being said, Crackle the Dragon is the most hilarious derpy thing ever, and I wonder if they named that dragon specifically because they knew that it was derpy and they didn't want to worry about the same kinds of things that they did with Ditzy. Those were the things that I liked. It was very interesting, very well done. It had a great moral at the end of the story. I think that that pertains to everyone across age, that you can't let what you are define who you are. Now, that said, I had a serious problem with this episode because it seems to be reinforcing gender stereotypes. Those of you who are too young to really understand what that means or care, a gender stereotype is essentially something that says, well, for example, grown men watching My Little Pony and people thinking that's weird, that's a gender stereotype. And I don't like how it's reinforcing how all of these male dragons are giant douchebags. Maybe it's the writers just sort of playing around. Maybe it's them trying to prepare the little girls who are supposed to be watching this show for later in life when all men are douchebags. I don't know. But it just seems to me like, I don't know, it's just really weird, and I'm not sure how I feel about what they did with it. But, on the other hand, Spike is essentially a brony, because he chose to stay with the ponies regardless of how the other dragons were acting. And that is the true awesomeness of this episode. It's maybe a shout out to us, maybe not, I'm not sure, but either way, I liked it. And also, for those saying, why doesn't Spike have wings yet? Remember that when he grew up, he still didn't have them. Stephen Magnet doesn't have wings. My moustache! And I will leave you with those thoughts. This episode was better the second time around, so I won't post the first go at this. But you all now have a little bit of a review. You know what's been going on. I updated you on an equestrian evade. Penstroke and I are still talking about getting together online. Batty Gloom needed to get a microphone, and we're having issues with the scheduling, but we're still working that out. Should be sometime soon. Mazza and I should have recorded the interview with him when he was here a few nights ago, and I forgot. That's my bad. And the Trixie painting is done. I will link to it here. Although, if you pay attention to Draw Friends, it was on there last night. So, things! Slightly longer podcast than the first go. Slightly more engaging, and hopefully that was enough for you. I bid you adieu. This is Vos de Sueños signing off. Safe travels, every pony.